Corey
Got
always
it.
watches it in the pre-produced file, so he'll know first thing in the morning. I'm sure he'll watch it before he goes to work. He always does. But let's not tell him. Shh, it's a secret. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Rake the Position, where three lifelong friends are living out their dreams from the comfort of their chairs tonight. I am Aaron, the host.
I am Joe, the groundskeeper, and baseball has been very, very good to me.
Yikes. I'm
You
Jaylee
gotta
the
love
Rover, and thanks for joining us today. We are gonna probably talk about an hour and a half of Cardinals baseball. Cannot wait for this. So, Aaron, back to you.
All right. See you guys later.
Oh, okay.
As you can tell, our stat man is MIA tonight. He had a last minute project at his house he's trying to finish up. So he might be popping in later if he gets it done in time. But until then, Joe's in charge of all of our stats. So this should be fun. We'll see where this goes.
The numbers don't lie.
Maybe it's a good thing that my sign is kind of out of the view.
Yeah, get it back in there. Oh, good idiot.
There we go.
All righty, so we're going to jump right into our rankings, and we've got a very similar setup, but a first. This is a first for our rankings. So I'm going to start at the top because there's less intrigue at the top. So once again, excuse me, the Braves are unanimous first place team, holding strong. Everything's clicking on all cylinders. Don't need to say anything else there. Orioles staying strong in number 2. They did get a third place vote. Joe had them in third place, so we'll talk about that just a little bit, a little foreshadowing. Dodgers staying in the 3 spots, so those 3 teams are all in the same spots they were last week for us. The Rays, once again, are in the 4th spot. They actually gained a little bit this week. Somebody voted them 3rd. And
Yellow.
then in 5th, with a tie, we have the Rangers and the Mariners, both receiving 2 votes. The Rangers got a 4th, and the Mariners got 2 fifths. So they are tied at the bottom there, but a little intrigue there. So I know me and Jared, I believe, both had the Mariners again in that 5 spot. We talked about them last week, sneaking into the rankings. Jared and I were trying to get them in there, and they finally caught the Rangers. So, Jared, what do you got there for us on the Mariners?
Just playing some good baseball. 8-10 in the last 10 games. I mean, right now, top of the division in that AL West. Hopefully, they can beat out the team that shall not be named. It's the Astros. But no, I mean, J-Rod's staying hot too. So it's a young, exciting team. I think we all kind of wanted this team to. I mean, we obviously wanted the Angels to do the thing, but they obviously kind of just self-destructed.
We're not talking about them anymore.
Yeah, the Mariners were, I think,
last week.
Yeah, sorry. I think the Mariners were another team that we all wanted to make sure that got the love, and I think seeing them in the playoffs is always a good thing. So hopefully they can keep the ship way it's going. I mean, their pitching seems to be doing pretty good, but I mean, J-Rod's probably one of the most exciting players in baseball at the moment.
Yeah, I just saw a graphic on Twitter today. The 5 main starters going right now, and that Wu is their 5th starter, and he is league average according to advanced stats, and everybody else is better, with Castillo having one of his best seasons he's ever had. And so, like, if you can throw out 5 better than average starters every night, like, you're gonna have a real good chance. And yeah, Julio's taking that step up. You see superstars do this, when they get hot, they can carry a team in a crucial playoff race. We saw Harper do it last year. We saw Turner do it in the USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Not so much the regular season.
He's doing it now. I'm giving Turner a little love right now because I've been down on him all year. But yeah, he's hot right now. But yeah, so it's fun to see a young guy like Julio kind of do it for kind of maybe the first time in games that really matter. Like, he's put up stats, but the Mariners are. I just saw this was the latest they've been in first place since like August of 2003. It's been like 20 years since they were in first place this late in the season. So it's exciting. Joe, you're the one that had the Dodgers ahead of Baltimore. You gave Dodgers a little extra love this week. What's going on in your mind there for that?
I think Rick Ross said it. All
Oh
they
my
do is
gosh.
win, win, win. I had this somewhere I got pulled up here the last month of games, 30-ish games. Um, which I guess probably takes us pretty close back to the deadline. But
Yeah.
last 30 games, they got the best record. I mean, Baltimore's pretty close too. LA Dodgers are at 24-6. Baltimore's at 20-10. They seem super hot, and I think their pitching is probably better than Baltimore. So good pitching beats good hitting, and that's why I threw them on there. Which now that I say that, I think I left. Did I leave Seattle off? I think I left Seattle off, even though they're on fire. I put Texas on there because
Yeah,
overall,
you had Texas 4 and you had Tampa 5th.
okay, yeah. Um, like you just stated, I mean, Seattle's pitching, and I was looking at it earlier. They don't really have a weak spot there, so maybe I should have gave them a little more love. But I feel like Texas still probably has the better overall team, even though they're not playing like it right now. And Seattle's super hot, so it's close. I mean, it's close. You're, five A, 5B, 5B, 5C,
Yeah,
right
those
in there.
top 4 teams seem like they're going to be there. Like we talked a couple weeks ago, the Rays might be on their way out, but yet they're 8-2 in their last 10 again.
Yeah.
So you got the 380 win teams or 480 win teams at the top, and then the AL West. The only other teams that's there's Philly and Milwaukee. Both of them are right behind the AL West, but it'll be a good race in the AL West. It's
Mhm.
maybe, I guess Tampa has closed the gap on Baltimore.
Yeah, only a game and a half back.
Yeah. The National League, I think, is pretty secure, unless you think the Cubs can really catch the Brewers, which I know somebody who's not here probably thinks that. But we'll see. Yeah, any
Anything's
other thoughts on
possible.
our rankings there?
I need Cleveland to go on a humongo winning
Yeah,
streak to
that
take the
15
division
games
by
look
15.
look a little rough.
You're
It's
running
still
out of games.
mathematically probable or possible, but not probable. So
Yeah. San Diego, they're losing to our Cardinals, who we all know are awful this year. So, yeah, if you want to go back and watch that first episode of us, you'll see a lot of my predictions are
That's
not the
sit
back when we
best.
pretty.
didn't. That's back when we didn't know about anything about baseball. Now we're
Yeah, we got
seasoned veterans.
experience. I
Yeah.
like it, seasoned vets. Yes. Well, that kind
I'm
of
glad
brings
you
us
two
into
do.
our that kind of brings us into our next topic a little bit, because we were talking about this wild card race a lot the last couple weeks. It's starting to heat up, and man, 5-6 years ago they changed how the trade deadline went. There used to be the hard deadline at the end of July, and then August was the waiver period where you could send people through waivers. If they went unclaimed, you could then freely trade them. And so usually it was your high priced guys that nobody wanted to take anyway because they weren't worth it. I remember Verlander got traded in that process one time when he was high price. I forget what team he was on, and they got rid of the last month of his contract. But since then, you don't see August impact the race anymore. You can trade prospects all you want. Guys that aren't on your 40-man roster, you can still trade. But the last couple of days, the waiver wire's been busy. So let's talk about that a little bit. The Angels have put a lot of guys on the waiver wire, many that they just traded for a month ago as they were hot going into the trade deadline. They decided to go for it, which we were all on board with. And then they forgot to win games in August. And so they're like, well, all these guys are too pricey. Let's put them on the waiver wire. It seems like Angels are trying to shed any money they can this year to close out the books under the luxury tax threshold. And a lot of these guys were hot trade pieces. And I think as you look at these names, a lot of them probably will get picked up. So give us some thoughts on these guys. If you were in the wild card race, would you claim these guys? What team do you hope does pick up these guys?
So I guess mostly for our listeners, because obviously I already know the answer to this. I'm not asking for myself. Don't even think that for a second. For our listeners, refresh us on. So they go on waivers, they get claimed, they can be traded to the team that claimed them.
Now the
Or they
way the
just pick
waivers are
up their
set up,
salary.
if you put a player on the waivers, whatever team claims them, can take the player and they take on the whole contract.
Okay.
All these guys are free agents at the end of the year, except for Clevenger. He has a mutual buyout, but those never get picked up. That's always just a way to delay paying a guy a little extra money in next year's books instead of paying him this year.
And if
Yeah,
they
go
go I'm sorry, maybe you weren't done with the claiming, but if they go unclaimed,
then that team can just keep them or cut them. But either way, they're responsible
on the
for
hook.
for the money.
Yep.
Now, if you could pull them back if we really don't want to lose them, if they go claimed, you can be like, nah, never mind, I want to keep them. But in this scenario, there's really no point. All these guys are the host team is hoping to shed some money. So I think if they get claimed, they'll
Right.
gladly let any of them go.
Yeah.
So who's going to take these guys? And if you were on a wild card team, would you take them?
I
I think
think
the one.
go ahead.
Okay, you sure?
No, I'll go ahead. So
You,
like
me,
if
me, me,
I'm
me,
sitting
you,
as
you,
a
me, 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 you, me.
good thing nobody's here in the room. No, go ahead, Jaylee. I'm kidding. Yep.
Okay. I think for me, we talked about the teams in the rankings, and I mean, the guy that sticks out to me about Joe's point of, pitching and how you can probably never have enough of it. If you're Baltimore, you're in desperate need of that. Like that's probably your one weakness. So I think Lucas, gonna butcher his last name. Is it Giolito?
Yep.
Did I get that right?
See?
Yep.
I'm
Okay,
good.
see?
I think that makes probably the most sense to me of these people on here. Just for the aspect of playoff pitching is way different than, I mean, you can use a starter anytime and bring him in whenever you need to just to make sure you secure the game. Now I know he kind of got rocked in LA, but I mean, people change your scenery sometimes is always for the best. So that's the one that sticks out to me. I think maybe people like Hunter Renfroe played in Milwaukee, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I could see a reunion there potentially, for a little bit of a spark on that team. But honestly, outside of that, I don't know. I mean, I think you look at any of these pitchers that are on there and any team that's making the playoffs, I think you do your due diligence and check in on it.
Mm-hmm.
To Cooney's point a little bit about how this used to happen a lot. Maybe our listeners have forgot a little bit like myself that it seemed like it used to happen a lot. At least it did with our teams. I know the Cardinals, back when the Cardinals made moves that actually worked out for the team and not massively against them.
What was
I
this?
mean, like late 90s, early 2000s. They had one of these guys every year. Like some guy would pass their waivers for whatever reason, they'd pick him up and have a really good September or whatever. But anyway, some of the guys that I saw that are getting waivered would be another pitcher who I've always liked. I guess maybe because I've always had him on my fantasy team, and it felt like he was really going to take off with the Indians there when they had that rotation with Bieber. They also had another stud there. But anyway, Mike Clevenger got waived by the White Sox, right? And I assume he's currently healthy.
Yeah, I don't think he's been healthy that much, but yeah. Like he missed the first half of the season, I think, right?
Right, yeah. Like Jay Lee said, if you're one of these teams that tried to pick up an arm at the trade deadline and like the Orioles picked up Flaherty, and they're like, I mean, if that's the best you could pick up, there's not a lot. There's probably 2, 3, 4 guys that are on the waivers right now that are better than some of the people these teams picked up that were looking for another starter. So, yeah, I think it'll be cool to see some of these waiver deals go down, as we haven't seen them a lot in recent years. And I remember seeing them a lot, like I said, early 2000s.
I'm checking out Clevenger's stats right now. He's pitched more than I realized. He's got 18 starts under his belt with a 3.32 ERA. I mean, the White Sox have been worth watching, so I was surprised by all that.
Yeah, I mean, when he's healthy, he's been good.
So what's interesting about the way the waivers work now, though, it's dibs by reverse order. So worst records get the chance first. And so if you're looking at that, like Colorado gets to pick anybody. And if they don't want them, then it goes to, I guess I'm looking at NL only. So Oakland, then Colorado and Kansas City and those guys. So none of those guys are going to take them. Like, why would you? You're already out of it. Why spend the money? So then you got to start looking at the bottom of the wild card rankings. The Yankees put Bader on the waivers, so I'm guessing they're not going to claim anybody else. So Boston's at 69 and 65. So they kind of have dibs in the AL. But you look at the NL, like Miami's 3 games out, sitting at 66 and 67. And Cincinnati's ahead of them. They're not playing good. And then San Fran has the final wild card spot, tied with Arizona. Neither of those teams are lighting it up. And so, like, Miami gets first dibs, and then it's Cincy and Boston. So if I'm Miami, I'm just claiming everybody. Like, why not? It's a couple $1 million for September to maybe get you in the playoffs. Some of these pieces are kind of redundant. So maybe you don't need Renfroe and Grichuk. They're both right-handed, power-hitting, good defenders. So maybe claim one of them. But why not take more Lopez and Giolito and just go all in on the pitching for 1 month and see what happens? And now that Bader's out there,
you can claim multiple at once. It's not like you claim one and then it goes to the next team.
That I'm not 100% sure on. That's a good question. Like, if you pick one and then you have to wait your turn to the next round, that very well could be. That's a good question.
Because if not, I mean, yeah, your point. Just claim everybody.
Yeah,
no one gets anything.
I was like, if you were like a rich owner, you could just troll the rest of the league. You're at the bottom and I mean,
and I don't know, like, you take these guys, somebody on your current roster has to get demoted or cut. So I don't know options. I don't know 40-man stability on all these teams. But I would think Miami for sure would take Giolito. Like, they've been trying to use Johnny Cueto as their 5th starter, and he's hurt again. So you put Giolito as your 5th starter on the Miami rotation, you get back in the playoff picture real fast. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to have this much talent available. And we'll know maybe before this podcast airs tomorrow, all these people will be claimed. They got to claim them at some point tomorrow to make sure they're on your roster before September hits. So,
yeah, I mean, Bader could be interesting for some people. For me, kind of sad it didn't work out in New York. I was really pulling for him there, being from there, and I mean, can be an electric fan base, but I think he could electrify some team in the wild card too. I mean, he's, high energy, speed. I mean, not gonna give you the best at bats. I think,
but he can hit a homer.
He strikes out quite a bit. So,
yeah, those types of speed defender guys usually don't hit the power that he has. I mean, so if he's at 9th, he's going to save your run every game, and every once in a while he might run into one and help you win. So, yeah, I mean, somebody will take him for sure. I think if you're looking at these guys, most of these guys will go somewhere. Clevenger and Bader, Giolito, Renfroe, Grichuk. Matt Moore's been good as a lefty reliever since he's moved to the pen the last couple of years. Lopez is one of the hardest throwing relief pitchers in the game. Dominic Leone, it's kind of been up and down a lot the last few years. I don't know if that's kind of injuries or what the case is there.
Joe's favorite pitcher.
Cardinal too. So it'll be fun. The one ripple effect of this is see that the Yankees are calling up Jason Dominguez for the weekend, which is like their stud do-it-all outfielder. I think he's 20, 21 years old, something like 20 years old. So that'll be fun to see him up in the bigs.
Show.
Anybody think Donaldson's got anything left in the tank?
Nope.
No.
Doesn't really appear. So
yeah. I'm forever thankful for, what was it, 2019 when he was a Brave? signed him to a 1-year deal, make good or go home, and he made real good. Got paid by the Twins. And I think he had just as much WAR in that 1 year as the Braves than his last 4 years combined, like same amount. So
Yikes.
he's fun to watch though when he's healthy. He just obviously hasn't been healthy.
My favorite.
It's taking a toll.
Speaking of him, real quick, this is probably about the story I'm about to tell is one that probably won't get him on the pod, but that's fine. There is a little. It pops up on Instagram every now and then of him like pimping a home run, but it's like just actually fly balls, like ones that he thinks are gone, and it's like 10 to 15 that he like is trotting like it's like just blasted and it's just a fly out. It's so funny.
With last week's appreciate or reinstate, like if you need a team fighter, I feel like he would probably.
He get hurt running out there though.
Yeah, but hey, the mindset is half the battle, and I think he has it.
Oh man. Alrighty. Well, I guess taking us to the next topic, Jared, you can set this up for us. It was going to be Corey's. But yeah, let's have some fun talking about this.
Okay, I'll do my best here. So we had a little incidents protecting the assets in a few weeks or so, right? So I'm gonna be honest with you. When Cooney texted us late that other night, that late about the stuff with Acuna, I was like, what are you sending me right now? I'm like, if this is another Braves thing, like I'm about to just delete this group chat. But then I watched the video and it's absolutely insane. Like, I get you can't have security everywhere because the stadium is huge, right? Like it, but I do feel like the places you go to, like you can see the security and they're always kind of like just standing around watching. But this dude just runs right up on Acuna. And me, like, thank God he just wanted a hug. But like, think worst case scenario. What if you had something to like truly injure him? You know, like that's obviously like worst case scenario what could happen. But then another guy comes running down and collides with him, and we already know Acuna has one bad knee.
Look good this year.
So I mean, it's wild to think that there's just not, unfortunately, more security for incidents like this. I mean, protecting the players. I mean, that's what you pay to go see. So I don't know. We got another incident, but I guess we'll stop there for a second to kind of go around the room and just kind of thoughts and feelings and emotions. I know Aaron's the Braves fan, so I'm sure he's feeling some type of way about it.
Yeah, when it's happening, I was watching the game, and it comes back. It happened in between innings, so he's out there warming up, playing catch with the bullpen catcher. And it cuts back, and of course they try not to show the fans on TV anymore because that's kind of what they're going for. And so I use MLB TV, and so it just kind of gave this weird like from the press box view, and so you could see all the pieces. Of course, by the time it cut, like Sean Murphy's already in the outfield, coaches are on the field. You could see a dozen black security shirts, but they were so small on the screen, I couldn't tell what was going on. But Peter Moylan in the booth was covering the game, and he was heated, and he was saying this guy's acting crazy. It's taken 3 guards to get him off the field, and he's still trying to jump out of their hands and stuff like that. So that's why I started texting you guys, and I think I said something to the effect like, these guys try to beat Acuna up. Thankfully, it wasn't. Yep. Yeah, thankfully it wasn't that. Like after like fans started posting videos on Twitter, you could actually see that the first guy got to Acuna and got a hug and was posing for a picture. And Acuna was smiling, kind of laughing, put his arm around him. And then security grabbed that guy. And so his reaction was to hug Acuna tighter so the security couldn't pull him off. And that's when it got awkward because Acuna is like wrapped up in this guy. Security's trying to pull him off, and Acuna's trying not to fall. And then that's when the second guy got there, but was sprinting so fast that when he got there, he didn't know what to do. He just kind of smashed into Acuna and sent Acuna flying backwards over the security guard who was on the ground holding the other guy's feet. And so, yeah, I'm just thinking, well, there goes the Braves season. Acuna's blowing his knee out. We don't have time to trade for Soler, but thankfully he was fine.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Thankfully he was fine. And then they said later on that inning that they had confirmation that a third fan actually was coming too from a different direction, but the security guy stopped him at the wall. And so these guys came from 3 different directions. So I don't know if they were buddies and they're texting each other, or if the first guy just actually got the picture. And so the other 2 guys were like, hey, let's try it too. That's a good idea. It was random that there was 3. But yeah, you just don't want a playoff picture to be completely altered because of a stupid fan like that. And then, of course, you don't want Acuna as a person to get hurt in that way.
They came from the outfield. Is that right?
Yeah, one
Or,
came
like, the
from
side?
like center field, and then the other one, he was already on the field, but I think he jumped over the side wall on the right field fence.
One guy came up from under the field, I think.
One guy was riding your
They dug
Panther.
in.
They had the Panther ready for when Iglesias was coming in to get the save. And yeah, so that's how he got past security.
That's on me. I'm sorry.
You forgot to lock the cage.
Yeah. I apologize.
It's definitely scary. It reminds me of, I don't know what year it was, but remember when the umpire got attacked by, was it a father-son combo or something? But 2 guys came out on the field, attacked the ump. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Do they want a selfie or do they have a knife and are going to stab you? I don't know how you secure.
There was a tennis player that got stabbed when we were younger too.
Mm-hmm.
Fan jumped out and stabbed her during the match.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So you just don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of to your other talking point when we were going to bring this topic to discussion of like Hank Aaron when he, hit that record-breaking home run and just mobbed by almost everybody in the field. Like, and I mean, there didn't even seem like there was any security at all. And like, what could have happened there,
And you would have to have like 1,500 security at least.
Like if the stands really wanted to empty, there's nothing those 12 rent-a-cops can do, And the thing with Hank Aaron, like those guys were shaking his hand as he's rounding second. He'd been getting death threats for months that he was about to pass Babe Ruth's record as a black man getting ready to pass a white man's record in that time period. So I can't imagine what was going through his mind as he's rounding this base for that historic home run. And thankfully, the guys were just big fans and wanted to congratulate him and be part of the moment. But one crazy guy gets out there, and that's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen? I'm assuming it's Reggie Jackson like hitting a walk-off or something, but same thing. Fans flood the field, and he goes running off the field, and it's just bulldozing people.
Yeah, he's just taking people out.
He's like, "Just get me into the." Under the stadium, and he's just training people.
That's funny. The other incident that kind of happened, I think, is obviously way more serious than, turned out to be more serious than the Acuna one, is the White Sox game. And again, I guess I live under a rock at some points in my life because you guys were talking about it, and I'm like, I had no idea what even happened. So bear with me. I might come to you guys for some details, but we had a gun somehow make it into
we know
the
how.
White Sox. Yeah, well,
it's been released.
Allegedly.
No.
Allegedly. No. Allegedly. We're gonna go with allegedly. This gun was hidden in a flap of someone's own skin. Yep, just like that. I mean, here's what I'll say, because we've been to that stadium. I think we probably could have got whatever we wanted in that stadium and not hiding it. So
there would have been nobody to hurt, though.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like snuck a gun in, shots were fired. Like, just kind of makes you think.
That cute cop was following Joseph around that whole weekend. So she had her eyes on him.
Yeah, I mean, the only guns that were brought into that stadium were these throwing out my arm at that pitching machine.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we can post that on Twitter, and y'all can see how awesome we are at baseball radar again.
We don't have to.
A little crow hop hitting 72 miles an hour, blowing out my shoulder. Yeah, we could show that. But no, it just kind of makes you think too. I mean, I don't know. It's just wild that are these metal detectors just for show to make people to stop doing it? Because I mean, like, you think that even if it's hiding in that, like, You still think it's going to detect something? I mean, I don't know. So again, we'll go around the horn here, but like, also very, very wild that people can be sneaking guns in now and parts of their body.
Yeah. So supposedly, allegedly, this lady hid
Allegedly.
the gun in her belly roll, and the metal detector could not pick it up. I know we have had harder times. My family has had a harder time trying to get a baby diaper bag into Busch Stadium than apparently you do getting a gun into Guaranteed Rate Field. So that's
Well, you
reassuring.
just have to put the diapers in your belly roll now.
I
You're
guess
fine.
so. That's the key. So she shoots herself and somebody else gets wounded. I'm assuming it's her.
It was
I hope it's her.
accidental. It was
Yeah, I
accidental
hope it's her
fire, right?
friend that knew the gun was there because that's just dumb. But my question is, how often does she do this? That she knew it would work. Like
I mean,
where else?
correct.
Where else is this
Correct.
gun going?
If
I
the
guess
White
it is
Sox are
apparently.
playing,
It's conceal and carry. I guess it
Maybe
takes
that's
the
just her holster.
definition to a whole new level.
if there's a game at the White Sox stadium, I bet there is a minimum of like 2,000 guns in that stadium.
It's only 1,000 people, so that's pretty good.
It's called
Everybody
dual wielding, baby.
dual-wielding.
Dual wielding, baby. Yeah.
Got a needler and
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be scary, and it's probably every stadium, to be honest. I mean, people
yeah.
find a way, just like on Jurassic Park, life finds a way, so do guns. And I think these stories will give a little we'll give the listeners an idea of what we're going to be doing in about, I don't know, 2 weeks. So we're headed to a couple Kansas City Royal games, right, guys? Us three.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
sir. Let's go.
Everybody on the pod.
Yeah, Corey sucks. So anyway,
Love you, Corey.
the Acuna thing. There's 3 people, right? Maybe we can recreate that with Salvador Perez or whoever's on Kansas City nowadays.
I'm going for
Obviously,
Bobby Witt, man.
Yeah, we'd go for Bobby Witt.
Number 2, somebody's got to sneak a gun in, and I'm nominating Cooney.
Yeah,
You're the only one that
Coon-
owns any.
I'll
True.
give you one.
but
Oh,
they'll
that'll be even better.
Hey, you'll be good because they'll suspect me, so you can probably just walk right in.
We'll just point at you. And keep
Very
walking.
true.
Yeah,
I feel like the last 2 or 3 times we've done any public transportation,
oh yeah,
I have gotten pulled off.
yeah. That's actually true. Surprisingly,
Train, plane. Like, do you see this guy over here?
He does not be out in public. Do you guys remember, or do you have any in-person stories where fans got on the field? Because I know we were all together in Atlanta, and I was trying to think of this. It may have been the same weekend that we saw Riley's debut.
I
The
think
first
so.
game, because we were on the right side, and for Riley's debut, we were on the left side because Jared missed a home run. But a fan came in. We were in the right field side. Fan jumps the left field wall as it starts to rise, runs, zigzags across the outfield, ends up by home plate, was out there for quite a while. Like, he had a couple zigzags going. He zigged and zagged and listed lazily to the left a few times, and then gets tackled pretty much into the brick wall that is the backstop at what is now Truist Park.
I don't think I remember that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it.
I mean, it was like 8 guys just dogpiled the guy right into the brick wall, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
No, I don't know. I mean, I think moments like that stick in your head of like, yeah, I was there for that. So I guess, I mean, that's the only one that really comes to my mind. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever been part of another one.
I can't think of any other ones, but it's weird how the crowd is always behind the person that's running the field, right? I mean, they're cheering that guy on like he's the greatest person of all time. And I mean, I don't know if that's a culture thing or a society thing, but I mean, that's got to be a big reason why people do that. I mean, the crowd goes nuts, and that just
anytime you see somebody like sneak in or not be where they're supposed to be, it's kind of crazy and throws everybody for a loop. So I don't know. It's crazy to think that in this day that security's not better or tighter around those situations. But look at this. We have somebody else sneaking in. Uninvited. Get this man off the field. What is going
what's
on?
up?
Did nobody know this?
Where's security? Security. Get this
Get him
guy
out
out
of here. Speaking of
Right.
security,
I'm a professional hacker, boys.
What
I know
in the
any Zoom
world?
meeting happening
oh
anytime.
man, my
Oh, my
boy
gosh.
Gavin Bogan.
We were just
live
talking
from-
about how
This is a
security
welcome
needs to be
crasher.
tightened up. Major League
This is
fields and Major League
awesome.
pods are getting hacked. This
Did
is
you know
ridiculous.
this? Did you know this?
About
Gavin,
what's
Gavin,
going
did you
on
know
in
you're getting on?
baseball world? Oh, did I
No.
know this was happening? No, I
Aaron.
thought I was joining someone like live streaming their Minecraft server, but I guess
Well, that's
I
what we were
typed
supposed
in
to
the
do,
right
but
one.
Corey didn't show up.
That's
so.
that's Rake position after dark.
Aaron,
Right.
why don't you introduce our guest?
Hey, so we have Gavin, the guest Bogan, on the pod.
Oh wow, full
Um,
name.
Yeah, we gotta get full name.
It's all right.
We won't give him his address though. Somewhere in Alaska.
Wink.
Keep you safe.
Yep, somewhere
Um,
where it's literally 110 degrees right now. You're right.
The exact
Woof.
opposite of Alaska.
The world is melting.
So I surprised Joe and Jared. Gavin's name has come up a few times. And then last week Corey called him out and was bragging how he took Bogan deep in Little League. So I thought we gotta bring
Little
Gavin on here.
redemption, yeah.
Yeah, for a little redemption and a little defense. Corey must have knew you were coming because, as you can see, he's not
scared.
here.
Yeah, he's scared.
Corey,
He's scared.
this is the first time we have done a pod without all four of us, and it was kind of last minute. Corey just texting us saying he's still working in his yard. Got a big old honeydew list that he hasn't got done, so he might still join us. But hey, we got a fourth now. So
Needless to
Gavin, you
say-
are now dubbed the interim stat man for the night because
Okay.
our stat man is gone.
We all
and
know
we're
you
all
love
dumb.
math.
Or scat man.
Oh.
Either or work.
Yeah, whichever you do best. So we didn't really have anything in the agenda because I didn't want to give it away that you were coming.
I'm completely ecstatic right now. This has made my week.
So let's just
I
interview
can see it in
Gavin
your
for a
face.
little bit. Gavin, we've all shared our favorite Little League story recently. So give us a little Little League history.
How do you guys remember anything from when you were 8 years old? I can barely remember what the field looks like.
Well, they didn't check my birth certificate, so I played when I was 14.
Oh, that also makes sense. No, that was a great question, and it's funny because Cooney texted me a little bit about it was a couple days ago, I guess it was, and then he said the story about Corey going deep on me and hitting a home run, which I have no memory of that whatsoever.
That's what all pitchers say.
Oh,
We all
check
thought
your
it was made
sources.
up. Or I thought it was
Yep.
made up anyway.
But because Corey wasn't the best hitter after that, then we can give it to him. Just say
Oh,
no, he was great. I'm only saying that because he's not here, and I don't want to honor the absent.
There we go.
No, I will say though. I mean, we can count Little League. I would. What I remember most is Junior League because that was the year where at least the team that I was on, we actually went to state and ended up going to regionals. So that was a group of people from Pittsfield, Griggsville, I think a few people from Barrie, and the biggest memory I have is not the good memory, but it was when we were in Indiana playing our first round of regionals, and we were playing Missouri, and we were the Illinois representative. We were playing Missouri, so we're rivals already. And that game, I swear, we had 5 errors within the first 3 innings. I had 2 of them, I think, playing third base. So
yeah, you're a natural shortstop.
I know, and
That's coach's fault.
That's why, like in high school, I moved to shortstop because third base. I don't know what happened. We just had our jitters, so our defense was horrible. We ended up losing that game, and actually, it might have been it was Missouri. So that's not a good memory, but it's a memory that will always haunt me forever because I made a couple of those errors. But that was actually a cool year to experience something like that. Go to Junior League. Kind of that, and we actually a few wins away from the World Series, which is really cool. But unfortunately, never got to that point.
So you and
Little
Jared
League, I don't
are
know.
the same age, right?
Nope. Year
Nope.
apart.
Jared,
1 year.
Jared's
yeah,
a year older.
1 year
So
apart.
you are the same age as Corey. Okay.
Yes.
So was Corey on this team, or did he get left off?
Yeah, Corey was.
Oh, Corey's
Corey
never
was.
mentioned this. Corey must not hit any homers. He only brings up when he hits homers.
Makes sense.
That's great.
That makes sense. No, I love Corey because in high school, him and I, like he was my catcher anytime I pitch. I mean, come on, it's Sockies. There's only two catchers. One of them is going to be the catcher that starts, but it was cool. I loved Corey because him and I had a great relationship. And he's not here because it does feel like, I don't know, the Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg thing. I guess he just doesn't want to face me in a battle. So
wait, did Bogan just call
on.
out a cage fight against Colvin?
He did.
This
That's
is awesome.
really that's gonna get our views way up.
This is an off-season pod. The only problem is, Gavin, you have to come back to Illinois because Corey never goes anywhere with us.
Yeah.
So we know that's off the table. So
True.
the fight
That
has
is
to
true.
be here in Corey's backyard.
I was going to call
Make that
Italy
happen.
and see if we could get the Coliseum.
You know Corey
well.
ain't going to Italy. Corey won't go to Kansas City.
We'll build the Coliseum here.
Oh,
They
that's
will.
what we
Little one.
got.
It will come.
That's right.
Since we're interviewing Bogan here, I got a few stories, but I want to ask you. We talked about Little League. Anything in high school that kind of sticks out as a big memory for you?
Yeah, and it's funny. I actually last night I was doing my research because Cooney sent me the podcast you guys had with Coach Schultz and Coach Allens, and it was cool
so
just
good.
reflecting on their stories. And yeah, it just made me just open up those memories from them. I remember most my junior year just because I feel like we had a great team. Where, yeah, you obviously would have been on the team, Jared. I know we had a great streak going to the regionals, but then for whatever reason, just for a good long time, anytime we hit
Got
regionals,
dominated.
we just couldn't win anything. Always got dominated. So that was disappointing. This is a personal memory. It's not a team thing, so I'm being very selfish right now. But I know
It's your time to shine.
Junior year was my junior year. Was the best one because, Jared, I think you were doing this with me, but Aaron, your dad, and maybe Skip was with us. That was when we did Insanity in your dad's house. And I feel like that was the most been in shape I've ever been, and that's why I had the best year of baseball in my life was junior year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You notice Rakers, he did not say Aaron was there doing it with them. Just to play that out.
I remember that. Yeah.
They would go
There's like a
over to
whole-
my dad's house while I was sleeping. They would
In
text
spirit.
me and call me, and I mean, I was coaching them, so they would see me after school and be like, "Where you at?" And I'm like, "Nope,
Sure.
that's 6 in the
Nah.
morning. Forget you guys."
yeah. And because of that, I remember there was a doubleheader we had at Rushville, and we were facing off one of their best lefties. I couldn't tell you his name. And I think for the first there for a while in that season, I was leadoff. I think I was like leadoff in second. And the very first pitch of the game with this lefty, I smacked one to right field and hit a home run to start the game. And then
Gavin Batts lefty for everybody out there.
Yeah, but that's good context. So like this was Rushville's very best pitcher, and it was already going to be probably a tight game. And then
Did you pimp
he
it?
just gave me the best ball I've ever seen in my life, and just smoked it, and it was good. And I ended up homering again, I think, the second game. So it was just one of those days where I guess Pat's workout helped a little bit extra that week, and I ate less Taco Bell, and it worked out. But that was a fun time, and I think we won both games, which always helps too.
No, it was since I didn't get to bat a whole lot, it was my job to pimp them for them. Like if they hit the home run, I think I was
You
the most
pimped in the
excited.
dugout?
Yeah.
There's the dugout
Yeah.
pimping. I like it.
Yeah. But no, that's a good transition talking about the memories that you had and like the hitting and stuff. I've gone on here and talking about like, you know, we mentioned our favorite Socky player. Like I mentioned Clint Hamilton just from like all like just a good dude, like really just like fundamentally sound, and I mean could just rake. But I will say, Gavin, like your lefty swing was one of my favorites, like watching in high school, for two reasons. One, I was always scared in the dugout because you've hit a few over that way into our dugout, but it was just always so pure. And I mean, it seemed like you made contact with almost absolutely everything. So a little kudos to you, man. I loved your swing. Still do.
I
If you still
appreciate
swing
that.
that way.
Oh, I don't.
Okay, never mind then.
I
He's
don't.
actually switched around right-handed. He's power hitter.
Yeah.
I actually, when I play golf, because I can't play golf, and play Top Golf, I have to do it right-handed because I can't hit left-handed golfing. It's the worst. So you're kind of right.
Oh wow.
Jared, did you ever try lefty swinging? That's the question.
You've seen me try. It's not great.
Have I? Blocked from my memory. Speaking of line drives in the dugout, Gavin, didn't you take a shot at home
Mhm.
off your head? Do you not
That's
remember
why
that
he
either?
Can't remember anything.
I'm
Another
100%
memory I
sure it was
can't
Gavin.
remember.
No, I think it wasn't it. I think it was Mason Damon that hit it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Where did it hit you
Yeah,
at?
it was like right in the bag too.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I thought.
yeah, that was a weird day because it was one of those where it's my head, maybe I'll die, but I feel okay. So nothing happened. Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge knot there for at least a week for
Oof.
sure. And
I don't know if
Jared,
I've
I don't know if
ever.
you remember this.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, it reminded me of when Jordan Coffin, one of those games. Or no, it was practice. He was, I think, playing second base or
Yes.
something, and fungo and a ball literally came up to him and chipped his front teeth.
Yeah. I mean, if we
Man,
got time,
they don't mess around with those fungos.
I can tell that story.
Go for it, man.
I mean, okay, real quick.
Joe
well, what
just
happened-
disappeared. So I don't know.
if we all know Jordan, love you, Jordan, if you listen. Back in high school, he'd mouth off a little bit, right? It was Jordan, is what it is. I'm not bad mouthing him, but that's just what he did. And then we had that assistant, Colin.
Colin
Yeah.
Brennan.
Yeah.
We were doing infield, outfield, and Jordan was on the infield, and mouthed off like, because Jordan made a few good plays doing it, and then Colin got a hold of one, and Jordan went to just catch it with a line drive. Well, it went right over his glove and straight into his mouth. That was a sight to see. Oh boy,
Lots of blood for sure.
Gavin, I don't know if everybody else knows this story. Maybe it's a story for a Rake position after dark or offline. But the injury you sustained, and I visited you at the hospital. First time I ever met your mom. I don't know if we want to share that story right now or not, but that's just a little. That's a little teaser
Gavin's
for later
never
on,
gonna
guys.
come back on the pod ever.
I'm gonna come back on the pod.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I was excited for this because Jared, Gavin, and Corey were always together when they were in high school, and I was coaching, and I was also the pastor at the church, and they always hung out to church with us too. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I got one more high school memory. And sorry, it might slightly embarrass you slightly, but you're here, you're on the pod. This is what we do.
That's what I signed
actually,
up for.
this is new for us, so I don't really know what we're doing here. The other memory I have is, dude, you always wore your batting glove under your glove,
Oh,
and
yep.
that thing reeked.
Yeah, it did.
Like we knew where Gavin was at all times. We were like, yep, that's Gavin's around there. There's that smell. So, I mean, solid defensively, but man, that glove. You still have it?
No, I probably incinerated it afterwards because I could smell it. That's funny. No one ever told me that it smelled. I mean, I knew it smelled, but no one said anything.
We weren't gonna tell you that. You were playing good baseball. We thought it may have been a ritual or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a pod topic someday. Baseball rituals, superstitions,
yeah.
Pre-game stuff. Ooh,
We
They're
talked
all
a little about Joe
mostly
about him
nasty.
eating the worms. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So this is a good question. This brings up. I didn't realize Gavin wore a batting glove. I wore a batting glove. Did you guys wear batting gloves in the field? No,
I didn't. You know, I've never wore gloves anyway.
Yeah, Joe does. Yeah, Joe's allergic to gloves.
Well, I guess I technically
We've had
didn't
this
either,
conversation.
because when you're on the bench, you don't bat. So
I always had
That's a good point.
a different batting glove for fielding, and then had different ones to hit with.
my batting gloves looked like the same as I did when I bought them at the beginning of the year, just brand new.
I can take these babies back and get a return.
Oh, that's so good. Oh man, this is great. All right, well, Gavin, hang out with us for the rest of the night. We've got a little bit left in our agenda. Joe debuted this segment last week, and so I'm going to let him.
No, I need more of an intro.
I'm literally giving him a segue, and he gets up and runs out of the room. Are you grabbing a moon hug or some O'Keefe's? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. He literally just left. Everybody who's not watching on YouTube, Joe's in charge of the next segment, and he got up and left.
This happens quite often, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
He's never ready
Joe-
for his segment. It's
and
always
he
in
has
the
old
agenda.
man
Yeah.
bladder too.
Anyway,
It's great.
let's see.
Well,
Stalling. Last time we saw Gavin, we were at the old World Baseball Classic.
yeah, we were
That was a good time.
in
was fun.
location to be determined. Because
There
what?
it is.
Oh, Joe's cross dressing on the pod now, guys.
No, he just hit the weights. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, Joe,
that's
take
nice.
it away.
Is that Pat? Is that Pat Cooney?
I think it is.
Sorry, boys. I just transformed. I got on a little andro, if you know what I mean. So, I froze up there for a second. I'm getting so big, the camera can't hardly keep up.
Got to focus wide lens.
So yeah, for our listeners who may be tuning in for the first time, or Gavin, I know Gavin's watched all of our other ones, so he's aware of this topic.
Yeah, he
but I'll-
subscribed last
I'll
night
reiterate
after I reminded him. So
And spent
Hey.
all night watching every single pod. You're right.
Vince, is this like
Did nothing else.
it's like Game of Thrones and Rake Your Position? You can just binge them both. Anyway.
Whoa, good thing none of us are
Practically the
related.
same thing.
Okay.
That's a good thing none of us are related.
So we had this bit. I gotta get back here in the camera. Where this segment where it's called Appreciate or Reinstate. So there's some things that used to happen in baseball that don't anymore. A lot of
Allegedly.
things, right? Allegedly. And so we're going to go through some topics, just one per week. But the premise is, do we appreciate that this used to be a part of the game and respect it of how it was? Or do we, through massive social media presence and pressure, try to reinstate these things back into the game? And last week was the first week of the segment. The ratings were through the roof and like 4.9 out of 5 stars, I think. And it was crazy pitching deliveries and follow throughs and just atypical pitching motions, right? Well,
Please tell
this
me you have
week-
another PowerPoint.
I do not have a PowerPoint, guys. I want this to be a little more discussion based rather than throwing.
We have a
another
special
model.
guest, and you ain't got a PowerPoint.
I'm sorry, I can't be paying models every week to do a PowerPoint slide.
It was Joe and his nephew's baseball pants.
We'll send it to you,
I
Gavin.
tried to find larger pants and I couldn't. I'm sorry. Anyway, let me take you back to when I did fit in those pants. So let me take you back to the year of 1998. Now, if you're any type of baseball fan, you know what's going on in 1998 baseball season. So today's Appreciate or Reinstate is going to be, it's a big one, guys. We can all discuss it and think about it and comment about it. It is PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, steroids, whatever you want to call them, right? In baseball. So if you go back to 1998, the great home run chase, right? They say it saved baseball. They say it brought viewership to, I don't know if it's an all-time high, but the strike had happened a few years before. Viewership was way down. Everybody knew these guys were juicing and roiding like crazy, but hey, our numbers are up. So during that summer, during school, during summer ball, I mean, we talked about this every single day. And it was the race between Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Griffey was in there a little bit, but I mean, we got to leave this
He
up to the
faded
big
quickly.
dogs. Yeah, he wasn't juicing.
Because he wasn't juicing. Yeah, thank you.
And
Allegedly.
I mean,
Allegedly.
this was a total country thing, but when you live where we live, and most people's favorite teams is either the Cardinals or the Cubs. So this was huge around here too. But Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and then the Braves fans, all they did in the 90s was not win World Series.
Win, no matter what, except for the World Series.
So, I guess as we go around and talk, maybe think about some of your memories from that time. Some of the guys that see Gavin, some of Yeah, I don't know. I guess just listeners, what do you think of reincorporating steroids back into the game? I have my opinion, which I'll hold to the end. But let's do a little trivia. I always like to throw a little trivia in here before we go into the discussion. So, the first, at least according to Baseball Almanac, the first season was in 1876. Jay Lee, how many home runs were hit in 1876?
4.
Close. Add a zero to it. There's 40 home runs hit in 1876, first year. Last year, there's 5,215. We peaked in 2019.
Yeah, 2019 was
6,000.
juice ball era.
Yeah. So I mean, if you go back and look at the 90s, early 2000s, I mean, homers definitely spiked, but they're back to those levels nowadays too. But yeah, what do you guys think about in 2005, real quick, they did implement some pretty, I guess it was 2007 from no 2000 2006, 2007, they made the suspensions actually meaningful.
Mhm.
They had rules tied to it, but they were pretty lenient. Well, 2007, I think 50 games for the first, 100 games for the second. And then they bumped it up in 2015 to 80 games for the first. We've seen some big names get popped in the past couple of years for
Mhm.
roids. So they are taking it serious. Some strict penalties for getting caught. But what do you think, guys? Bring it
And
back.
nowadays, if you get
Shit.
caught, like if you're suspended in a season, you don't get to play the postseason no matter what, right? If you got suspended for roids,
I think so.
even if
I
your
maybe, I don't
suspension
know.
is up, you still get to play. I don't think.
So if you get suspended like for the first 80 games and you play the next 80, you can't play in the
I think
postseason.
you're ineligible for playoffs. Corey, look that up for us. Thanks, Corey. Back to us. Okay. Well, we'll have to come back to that if I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think Joe hit it on the head as far as like where we live. Like you three are all Cardinals families. But Jared's brother's a Cubs guy. Corey's a Cub.
Boo.
But like I'm a Braves fan because my parents didn't care about baseball, and so I got to choose. I wasn't just a blind sheep like you guys all are.
Wow. No,
And
you just
so
waited for the bandwagon to come by of a winning team and jumped on it.
that's right. It had lots of room in Illinois. But with that being said, my parents knew what was going on in 1998. Like everybody in the area, I think and it seemed like everybody in the United States was following baseball for the whole month of September. Because I mean, these guys, yeah, sure, McGuire ended up with what 70, and Sosa ended up with 66, but they both passed Maris before September hit. So the record was gone, and then it was like, holy cow, how far are they going, and who's going to end up in the lead? And Sosa was leading almost the entire year until the home stretch, and McGuire just kept going. So yeah, it was crazy. Like I do think it saved baseball coming out of the strike a little bit, or it helped it bounce back. Baseball was going to be fine. There's so much money. It's the American pastime. But yeah, it was just crazy. What do
So
you
is
think,
that your
Jared?
Wait,
is that
you
you
guys,
is that
you
you
guys would have been young, but what do you all remember from that time, if anything?
Go ahead, Kevin.
I don't remember anything except that I got a bunch of Mark McGuire posters that went into my room. But
There
yeah,
you go.
I know we were at the age where even if we heard the word performance enhancing drugs, that didn't really fathom with what does that mean for if you're cheating or not. Um, but looking back on it, I remember I would watch it all the time because I just liked home runs because I was a little kid.
Mhm.
I was born in '92, so I would have been just a little guy. But I mean, those were moments I remember, like even with my dad watching every single game because we wanted to see Mark McGuire hit a couple home runs a game, especially when it became a Cubs versus Cardinals type of weekend. Those were awesome because not only is there already that rivalry there, but these two people actually kind of creating their own rivalry, it definitely created some momentum that, I mean, even if you're not a Cardinals or Cubs fan, it seemed like at least looking back at it, that it would be fun to watch because people were doing stuff that you just don't normally see in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd also like to comment in that I've seen those same posters that Gavin had in his bedroom. I went over to his house pretty frequently.
Quite a bit.
Anyway,
Did Big Mac? I mean, he looked
small.
slightly. He was pretty small in those posters. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
It was from his pitching days.
But I mean, I don't think I can add much more to that. I do think living in the area that we did, we got it broadcasted much more, which is, super cool. Like I remember just staying at my grandparents' house with my grandpa and watching Big Mac and just wondering if he's going to hit, another one, or flipping through the channels to see if Sosa hit one, and to go back and forth. So, I mean, it was pretty cool to like have a race, that was at the number of home runs that they hit too. So not just like, when Bonds broke it, it was just kind of him by himself. No one was really kind of close to it. So having Sosa and McGuire go back and forth, and like I said, the Cubs rivalry, but then also like a friendly rivalry between both of them. Like they both were kind of cheering each other on to keep doing it and keep going at it. So I mean, I think that was pretty cool. But if you're asking me the question, appreciate or reinstate,
That is the question.
your boy's going to go with reinstate.
I like
And
it.
hear me out. Because you can take all these performance enhancing drugs to make you hit the ball farther, but there still takes an insane amount of skill to make contact with said ball. Like, how much does that actually help you? And I know it like can probably help you like concentrate more or whatever, but like you can juice me up and I'm still probably not making contact with a baseball coming in at
Yeah.
97, cutting, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I guess that's where like, to me, like, I get it. Like all performance enhancing drugs should be considered as like cheating, but like in baseball, like you still have to have the skill to make contact with, especially now with the ball that moves so much more than what it used to. So reinstate, voted.
I'm sure there's some examples, Cooney. Maybe you can think of some, but it's when I think about it, it's like it made like maybe some average players good, maybe some good players great, and then it made some great players like amazingly great, Bonds or some of those guys that were already probably Hall of Famers. And then, but yeah, it's not helping everybody. I mean, you could juice 99.9% of the league up, and they're probably, I mean, it's just baseball is a unique sport. We all know that. And you can be as genetically gifted as you want or as ripped as you want. And doesn't take you the whole way.
Yeah, Dan Douglas.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with steroids is, and this is probably why I would say reinstate, because it helps you stay on the field. That's the bigger thing. Like it keeps you healthier. Like you heal better, muscle wise. Now other stuff breaks down, joints and whatnot, obviously. But your muscles and stuff heal. Like I'm looking at Sosa's peak. Like he played every game. He's hitting 60 bombs and leading the league in games played. So yeah, I mean, you're going to hit a homer further, but Bonds is still one of, if not the greatest hitters of our lifetime. Like he did not miss. He would get one pitch a week and he would hit it into McCovey Cove. Like people are walking him with the bases loaded because he was such a good hitter. That's not steroids. The other drugs, like, your focus drugs, like was it Adderall and stuff, those are a bigger issue because that actually changes your ability, I think, to stay focused, and to hone in on the pitch better. But yeah, like when we talk about home run derbies, we still think McGuire, Sosa, Griffey.
And
I mean, name the last three winners. I don't even know.
I don't know if it's because we were smaller, but it seemed like they're just hitting absolute nuke bombs. The bat in their hand. The bat in their hand it was like a little stick. McGuire would swing the bat at 400 miles an hour and just nuke bombs, man. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, from a moral perspective and a human perspective, they're bad for you. Don't do them. Cause other issues. But from a straight entertainment value, which is
Bring it
what we're
on.
doing. We're here having fun. How can we create slugfest
Yeah.
in real life? Bring the steroids off.
Unbelievably so. Maybe I'll take the little more practical side and say appreciate.
Boo.
For the reasons Cooney just said of,
Yeah.
If you want to market the game at all to like families and kids, that's a bad thing. And a few of the other professional sports I follow, bodybuilding, not intensely, but I follow it.
I'm building a body.
Well, the other one's kind of irrelevant, but these. Okay, there's not a lot of pro
One
sports now.
bodybuilding. That's it. All right.
Well, because most pro sports outlaw it, right? But in bodybuilding, if you're going to be professional, 100% you have to use steroids. And these guys are, it's like, you look at the people dying in WWE, it's the same thing in bodybuilding. I mean, these guys drop in their 30s and their 40s. So maybe you get a couple monster peak years at like, I don't know, in your 30s. But if you start abusing these things,
the mental side effects are just crazy too. Like I've seen a couple of documentaries of some famous bodybuilders from like the 90s and, depression, suicide, or just other health issues. So obviously we're joking around when we talk about the steroids, but yeah, I mean, our childhood baseball, I might as well get these guys in the Hall of Fame. Like it happened. Everybody knows Bond's in the Hall of Fame. Okay, he was cheating allegedly, but still, everybody tuned in to watch him, and for MLB just to ignore him, it's crazy.
Yeah, I would also say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
go for it, Bogan.
Fine. And I was because you said slugfest, and I just mean like because of that, reinstate. And I mean, it'll be slugfest, one of the best games of all time because of the entertainment value in particular. So here's a caveat to all this: it's reinstated, but kind of like the AFL, we just create another sub league where the only way to even be on a team is to have performance enhancing drugs. Smaller fields. You can't pitch faster than 90 miles an hour, and you just let the people just go crazy. Maybe that's
so you're saying you have to take a drug test, and if it's negative, you're kicked out of the league.
Pretty much.
You have to fail the drug test to keep your contract. Dude, so this is perfect because as the pod has gone, this is episode 21. Every once in a while, we drop these little tidbits of a future league that we are collectively building. It's like if the XFL, if Vince McMahon did baseball instead of football. And so we've been creating these different we've been creating these different rules. We don't have it like completely formulated yet, but I think this is another piece of the puzzle here, guys.
This all came about at the World Baseball Classic. You know that, right? Like this is where we talked about it at.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Going back to the smaller field though, like are you talking like just the fences or the whole field in general? Like is the mound still 60 feet 6 inches, or like is the mound even closer, like 40 feet?
This is where I think Corey as a stat man would come in handy, just because now we'd have to
let's ask Corey real quick. Okay, thanks, Corey.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Like because then you can find the science of what is the perfect range when it comes to a ball getting nuke bombed, like Joe said. And there's got to be some perfect formula of data that shows these measurements will mean the perfect outcome, which would mean the most entertainment value of some sort. It's purely on the entertainment side. We're who cares about health right now? It's just entertainment.
Yes,
we could probably find a way to make it. Yeah, if it's not regulated, I don't know. We'll do an experiment.
That's our motto right there too. I think purely entertainment. Who cares about your health? Join.
I just wrote it down, literally.
There we go. We even I just saw a clip because it wasn't that long ago that there was still Towles Hill in Houston. And center field had to run up the hill to catch it. Can we do stuff like that in this league, Bogan? Like it's 700 down the line, but it's 250 in dead center. But the wall's 45 feet.
700?
Like, hey, Go for it.
Hey, it's
How many runs is that worth?
that's good. Think of the defense side of it. If there's a bunch of hills and then you see center fielders just flopping around, like easy triple right there.
Taking 90-degree turns to get around the outfield wall. Okay, if McGuire was taking enough steroids to hit 500-foot homers, but trying to hide it, imagine how far he's hitting them if he can just do whatever he wants. So 700 foot ain't gonna be nothing. Now let's give him aluminum bats and see what happens.
I was gonna say maybe with a aluminum back circa 2003, like
before
no regulations.
Yeah, back when they were
drop tens. You need a bulletproof. We need a SWAT guy just guarding the pitcher.
That's coming off the bat at 300.
See those guys in slow pitch softball, man. Imagine this league. All right, we're on to some. Sweet. So for fun, reinstate, but for reality purposes, appreciate, and we're glad that we're finally doing something about it.
Yeah, listeners, let us know what you think, though. Comment, let us know. Got any ideas for the next appreciate?
Yeah, get some ideas for appreciate.
With that.
All righty. So this brings us to our ending segment. Gavin, as you've seen the other 20 episodes, you know this well. We end with weekend predictions.
Yeah, you can do Corey's.
You know what, guys? We can actually probably pull up Corey's spreadsheet and see where we're at, I bet.
Yeah, it's too many numbers for me, so.
I'll totally mess it up. I mess up every number. Corey, go to the bottom. All right. If I'm looking at the right thing, prediction totals. So far, every weekend we predict five series. Aaron and Joe have 45 correct picks. Jared's at 42, and Corey's at 40. Which Corey was like 20 behind us, and Jared was like 10 ahead of us. And so the fact that
I thought Jay Lee was like 20 behind.
No, Corey was always way behind.
Corey's always been the one that's bad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, but finally caught up to us a little bit. Of course, he's the one keeping score, so we really don't know. But that brings us to this week's, and so we're gonna get our predictions. So our order's completely messed up. So how are we gonna do this?
We'll have Gavin go first. Just have Gavin goes in Corey's spot, and then I'll go, and then.
All right. Sounds good.
Did he text the matchups or just the games?
They're in the agenda, that big fancy thing that we have every week.
That we send out every single week.
You don't send it out.
It's literally here every night. Jeez.
Sorry, Gavin. This happens literally every week.
Every time we have to remind Joe.
The Rakers podcast.
Yes, that's right. All right, so our first matchup here, Corey picks all these. So we got Braves, Dodgers. Our matchups are Strider versus Lynn, Freed versus Urias, Elder versus Bobby Miller, and Morton versus Kershaw. So battle of the curveballs coming up on Sunday. All right, Gavin, who do you think's going to win? It's a 4-game set, so you can pick a tie, but you will get roasted if you do. So don't do that.
Oh boy, should I say that this will probably be the first and last time you'll invite me on this podcast, because the last time I've been able to watch a baseball game was maybe last year.
March at the World Baseball Classic.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't even part of the exhibition season. So I still. So all of what I'm going to say is not because of any logical sense or because I know what's happening.
That's how we operate, so you're good.
Great. I still have a vendetta against the Dodgers just because it's LA. So I would probably pick if it's a 4-game series, Braves 3-1.
Like it.
At least the Braves winning that series for sure.
Jared?
I'm going to agree with Gavin.
Why is that?
Because he's my friend.
Yep.
Gavin, you probably spoke a little too much, giving reasons as to why you went with what you did. So just remember that. It's in LA, right?
It is in LA, yes.
All right, that's a long flight, boys. Let's go, Dodgers.
The Braves are in Denver.
I don't care where the Braves are at before that game, and then they go.
I'm just helping you not sound like an idiot. That's all I'm trying to do. Trying to help you.
Where are they playing?
Trying to help you. They're in LA.
They're playing LA, and then they're playing LA?
They're in Denver right now.
Oh, wow. That's even worse. Got ain't no oxygen up there.
I will say LA is a house of horrors for the Braves. So Atlanta's going to win. And exercise some ghosts. Of course, I'm picking the Braves. Best team in baseball. All right, next we have two. This is a good matchup here. We got two of the maybe hottest teams in the second half. Phillies at the Brewers. Wheeler versus Peralta. Nola versus Bukauskas. And Suarez versus Wiley. Some pretty good matchups. Gavin, I know you're a big JB Bukauskas fan, so who you got?
Bukauskas all the way.
Phillies or Brewers?
Well, because there's a lot more oxygen in Milwaukee than Denver, I'll have to say Brewers probably. I'll do a 3-1.
It's a 3-game set, and it's in Milwaukee against the Philadelphia Phillies, not the Colorado Rockies. So all that fell apart.
I'm just saying, to Joe's point of no oxygen in Colorado, because there is oxygen in Milwaukee.
Oh,
that
I
was
see.
Bad argument.
Mhm.
And it's protected oxygen. It's inside.
Right.
Yeah.
So Milwaukee. All right, I like the logic.
Yeah. I really can't disagree with that at all. So I'm gonna take Philadelphia.
I will say once you get done using your PEDs, it all kind of falls down to the bottom.
I did not know where that was going because he was standing up to show the lower half. I got scared.
I thought the rating on this pod was about to change drastically.
Do.
Anyway, I like Wheeler. I like Nola. So Phillies.
I'm going. I think Philly's just better.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Philly.
Gavin's
totally. Yeah, Phillies all the way. Bugaskaba.
Yeah, Bugaskaba's gone. Yeah. All right. Baltimore, who's been one of the pod's favorite teams all year, and the D-backs, who used to be. We won't talk about them. Baltimore at Arizona. Gavin's going all 3 games. He's got front row seats. Cole Irvin versus Zach Davies. Kyle Bradish versus Slay Ciccone. Maybe. Jack Flaherty versus Zach Gallen.
No one goes to Arizona games, so it doesn't even matter. No one in Arizona wins, so not Arizona.
Not Arizona.
I don't care.
All right, I'm putting that. Not Arizona. He's not
Picking Baltimore, just not Arizona.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me the Birds.
Birds.
Has anybody seen how Flaherty's done in Baltimore?
Not great.
He's throwing harder, though. That's what the Cardinals like. Cardinals like people to throw hard. They had no idea where they're going. I thought that's what you wanted. Sorry.
Cardinals like, oh, we want ground ball pitchers. Orioles. They'll win the first 2.
Yeah, I'm going
Baltimore as well. Clear favorites. All right. NL Central special here. Corey's not here to talk about it. Cubs at Reds. 4-game set. So it's starting tomorrow night. I don't even know who these guys are for the Cubs. How are they in the wild card? Javier Assad versus Graham Ashcraft. Jordan Wicks versus Ben Lively. Jameson Taillon versus Andrew Abbott. And Justin Steele versus Brandon Williamson.
My boss is a Reds fan, so Cubs.
Nice.
Okay, boss.
That's what I'm talking about.
I actually started writing down Reds. Psyched me out, man. Nice.
Stick it to the man. Show me Cincinnati.
All right, Joe, what you got?
I continue to think Andrew Abbott's one of the worst pitchers I've ever seen in my life. I know he's a rookie, and he's starting to actually show how good he is. His last couple outings have been weak. So Chicago Cubs.
Yep, you heard it here first.
What?
You picked Chicago. I just amazed.
Yeah. I won't tell you what I hope happens on the way after the game.
Let's
Nope, we don't need to know.
This is one of the hardest ones for me this week. I think since he's playing like crap, but I think they're a better team. So I will go Cincinnati. They're turning around. All right. And then last we always try to find these random ones that have nothing to do with the playoffs because we don't pick the bad teams that often. So now we got the Tigers versus White Sox. AL Central dwellers. Eduardo Rodriguez, who doesn't like the Dodgers either. And Tuki Toussaint. And then we got Reese Olson versus Mike Clevenger, who probably won't be on the White Sox by then. And Tariq Skubal versus Michael Kopech.
Anytime people ask me where I'm from and I say Illinois, they're like, "Oh, what part of Chicago?" And I hate that question, so I hate Chicago. Going for the Tigers.
Tigers. All right.
I second that.
Detroit.
So Toussaint makes me think of Teutonic, like most people, which makes me think of Age of Empires, which is a game that I played a lot. So I'm gonna go with the White Sox.
Tuki's an ex-Brave guy that couldn't quite cut it. I like rooting for him. Seems like a good dude. He's got a crazy curveball. But going Detroit.
You gotta think Clevenger's probably not making that start either.
Yeah, I don't think Clevenger's making that start. But Tuki and
Yeah,
Kopech
it
is
doesn't
still
seem
good.
like Clevenger's going to make that start. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like it.
Gavin
Why-
was definitely
why is that,
talking about
Gavin?
that.
Because of what you were thinking.
Right. All righty. So that brings us to a total today. We have 3 Braves, 1 Dodgers. Joe is an idiot. We have 3 Phillies, 1 Milwaukee. Bogan's an idiot. We have 3 Baltimore and 1 not Arizona. So that's a clean sweep. Four birds. We have 2 Cubbies and 2 Cincy. And we have 3 Detroit, 1 Sox. Once again, Joe's an idiot. So this will be interesting. Joe's going to do really good, or we're all going to do really good and laugh at him. Either way, it's going to be fun.
I think we just found something that
What's that? That
A
Joe's an
fourth
idiot?
pod
Bogan,
member?
I think Bogan has his own segment on here. He comes on literally just for the picks, gives us his best analysis, and that's it.
With no
Yeah.
no news of the week.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who stumbles across YouTube and is like, these are guys that look okay, but I don't know sports. I relate to them. So
The next time Gavin's on, which I'm okay if this happens more regularly, he shows up, we give him a topic, and he just has to take it and run with it. Like we
Love it.
say
I love it.
Angels, waiver wire, and Mike Clevenger. And then just give him 2 minutes and see what happens. Because I know,
It'd be like-
one, Gavin is pretty quick on his feet. He loves improv. And 2, he's a funny guy.
We could call it
this could
something
work.
like
well,
This could work.
Bogan's big brain. We'll workshop it. That's the best I got right now.
This. Well, thank you very much, Gavin, for
Yes,
jumping in. I was
Gavin.
Saved us,
texting him
man. You saved
yesterday.
us.
I gave him the Zoom code earlier today, and I was like, all right, in the middle of the pod, we're going to talk about security, and I'm going to sneak you in here. And I was so excited trying to keep a straight face.
Our security is not good.
No.
I don't know. Just
And we were
passing
like-
that passcode everywhere.
We honestly were wondering if we were going to record once we heard Corey wasn't coming, and I didn't want to say, but guys, we can't. We got a special guest. And then you were trying to figure out what guest we could bring in at the last minute. Jared even like, hey, I could text my brother, maybe he can get in. So I'm glad this all worked out.
For sure.
You are our second guest. I guess we count the
Yeah.
coaches as one.
Count the coaches as one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
they're
3 brains
one,
equal 1. Yeah.
one unit.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be a part of it. Yeah, for sure. Thanks.
And
for-
our first
It's fun to see
surprise
you guys.
guest. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Gavin.
Which
First
is funny
surprise guest,
because
for sure.
I literally live in a town called Surprise, so it makes sense.
You just gave it away. Now all of our Raker fanatics are going to descend on your home.
They got your name. They got your
They got your name and they got the town. There's not too
You're
many
done,
surprises.
dude.
And you said it's 110 degrees, so my Alaska deep fake didn't work.
Hmm.
So
Well,
good luck,
Gavin?
man.
Mm.
Anything to add before we roll on out of here, my dude?
I guess the only thing to add is not to be sentimental, but you guys were a big part of my childhood and high school buddies with Jared for a long time. So even though we're all far apart, I'm thankful to call you guys brothers and family.
I know.
Yeah,
How's that?
I'll tear up if I ask any more. But no, you guys are awesome. I'm so glad that you guys can still come together, talk baseball, and just make fun of each other and call Joe an idiot. unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry, Joe.
He does it himself,
I call myself
honestly.
an idiot.
This
But-
is that's good.
But
Gavin, it's
no,
always a pleasure.
You know what
I'm-
you know what they say if the ankle bracelet fits.
wear it.
Don't let him out of the
Yeah.
house.
I don't know.
That's how that goes.
That's Joe for
That's
you.
a pretty good one. We come up
Yeah.
with great sayings every now and again. That's a good one, Joe. I like that. If the ankle bracelet fits, don't let him out of the house. That rolls right off the tongue. That's good. Well, yeah, Gavin, we miss you. We're proud of.
Yeah, man. Keep
At least
doing your
I'm proud
thing.
of what you're doing out there. I don't know about these idiots, but
What?
it's always good to see you.
Yeah.
Somewhat, and we'll definitely have you back
We love
on.
you.
And when you're back home, be a raker in person.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you bet. You bet. Yeah, thank you guys.
All righty, so we have a classic sign off that our fans just can't live without. And I always say, until next time, don't forget to. And then we all say, not in
Right.
unison,
Oh.
because we can't pull it off. Rake your position. All right.
Well, Gavin should know.
course.
He watched all 20 episodes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he caught up all night. He
You
does
literally say it in
look a
the
little
title
super
of the
prep.
podcast. So
Yes. It was fun. It was fun having that conversation with Coach Schultz about where that came from. So it was a good
yeah,
time.
that was a good time.
That was a good time. That is by far our most popular episode, which doesn't speak
As
very
it should
highly
be,
of us.
probably.
Yeah, that's true. This might be number 2. Hey, real quick, don't tell Corey that Gavin was on here. Corey
You got
always
it.
watches it in the pre-produced file, so he'll know first thing in the morning. I'm sure he'll watch it before he goes to work. He always does. But let's not tell him. Shh, it's a secret. We love you,
love it.
Corey. Get done raking your yard by next week. But until next time, guys, don't forget to
Rate
your
position.
Back. It's out of here.
insert dubstep music.